Hey guys, Josh here with RedNeck GreenThumb. Today I want to go over how I incubate my chicken eggs. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned. First things first is egg selection. You're going to want to pick eggs from the desired birds that you want to hatch out. So I have a barnyard mix here of a whole bunch of different kinds of eggs actually. So use fresh eggs. Don't use eggs that are any older than 14 days. A lot of people say 10 days, but 14. Use clean eggs. Don't use dirty eggs because that's going to be introducing a bunch of bacteria into your incubator, and you'll be putting it into an incubator, okay, where everything's going to multiply. It's going to be 100 degrees and moist in there. That's the perfect breeding grounds for bacteria. So pick clean eggs. If you have dirty eggs, you can rub the dirt or the poop off of them. Just try and make them nice and clean. Don't wash them because there's a bloom or like a coating on the egg that's called the bloom that protects the egg from bacteria, so nothing can get through the pores on the shell. Don't wash your eggs and don't mess with that bloom. You wanna come here? Lay down. Now lay down. Good girl, you stay. Don't shake your eggs because shaking your eggs is obviously gonna either break open your yolk inside or it's gonna displace everything. It's just gonna scramble your egg, okay? Don't shake your eggs. It's a good practice just to let your eggs sit at room temperature. Let them sit if they've been shipped or moved or jostled at all. Let them sit for 6 to 12 hours at least while your incubator is heating up. If you're going to be storing your eggs so you can collect more, you're going to store them tip down at about anywhere from 12 degrees to 20 degrees Celsius. So that's like 55 to 65 degrees Fahrenheit. For the only country in the world that still uses the imperial system, my American friends. Also in storage, you're going to want to turn your eggs still. 1 to 3, 3 to 5, doesn't matter. Make sure you're turning your eggs in storage. Now, your incubator. This one I got off of Amazon, I don't know, last year sometime. It worked well for a couple of uses, and then the moisture seizes up the little electric motor in it that's supposed to turn your egg. Now this is a manual turning incubator. I had to turn everything manually every day by hand. So I turn my eggs 3 to 5 times a day. Professional hatcheries and stuff, their machines turn them once every hour. So if you want to do that, just make sure that you're turning them at least 3 times a day. And that's so that the yolk inside the egg doesn't get stuck to the shell. So if you keep rotating it, it's going to keep separating itself from the shell, right? Next, clean your incubator. Whether it's new or used, whatever. Clean it, because any bacteria that's in there can potentially get on your eggs, spoiling them. It's no good. You just wasted all your time if that's the case. So when you're getting your incubator ready, you're going to want to let it run for around 6 to 12 hours. Some people will say let it run for a day. That's a little bit overkill, I think, but 6 to 12 hours should be sufficient enough to get it to temperature. And if it has a humidity reading on it, then you can set the humidity, set the temperature, and as long as it holds temperature and humidity, you should be fine. Go ahead and throw your eggs in. Now, incubating chicken eggs, incubation temperature is going to want to be set around 37.7 to 38.1 or 2. Okay, you don't want to go much higher than that. And that's in Celsius. Fahrenheit, it would be, I don't know, 99.9 degrees Fahrenheit all the way up to 102 degrees Fahrenheit. And you're going to want to keep your humidity at about 50-55%. All the way up until you lock your eggs down, which will be on day, what are these going for, 21 days. So day 18 will be lockdown day at the end of day 18. when you lock your eggs down, you're going to want to up the humidity to about 65 to 70%. So when you're setting your eggs, you're going to want to set them tip down if you have trays like that, or on their side will work as well, because that's how they lay in the nest in the wild. Turn them 3 to 5 times a day if you're turning them manually. On my eggs, I've marked them on one side with an O and on the other side with an X, so that I can remember when I turn them, or if I've turned them. I keep on saying don't keep opening your incubator, and I keep on doing it. But you should leave your incubator closed so that the humidity stays up around 50%, because those are the conditions that are required to hatch eggs, right? So try not to let all your humidity out. Now, candling. I don't usually candle my eggs. Chicken eggs are a little different than quail eggs because quail eggs won't really explode. Chicken eggs, I'm pretty sure, have a higher chance of blowing up in your incubator. So it's probably a good idea to candle them after a couple days, even, just to see if there's any progress going on inside the shell. Because if there isn't, like I said, you can explode your eggs and that can ruin your entire batch. So a good time to candle them is after a couple days first, and then 7 days, and then again at 14 days, just to see if they've stopped growing. And if they have, you're going to want to get them out of there. So mark your calendar for 22 days, because the day you put your eggs in, you're going to want to wait 1 day, okay? And then consider that day 1. So it's a lot easier if you just mark your calendar for 22 days instead of 21. Now, once your eggs start to hatch, don't feel like you have to reach in there and grab your chicks right away and pull them out. They can stay in there for up to 24 hours, or at least until they're all dried off and they turn fluffy. And if you do decide to reach in and pull them out of your incubator, make sure you have a hot bottle of, like a hot mist bottle, that you can rehumidify the incubator every time you open it, so that you're not going to be killing any of your potential chicks. If there's a shell in there that's pipped, it's got a little hole in it, and you open the incubator, you could shrink wrap that chick into that egg and it will die. It won't come out. So that's why I say try not to open it, and if you do, rehumidify the heck out of it. So I want to candle here a couple of these eggs. I'm just curious to see, there's one that's kind of changing color, and I want to see if it's going bad or if it's developing. So I'm going to make the room a little darker. This incubator has a candler, so I'm going to pull out the funny looking egg, place it on top of the candler, and push the button. See how it's light? It's light at the bottom, but it's dark up top. I think that egg might be viable. Let me go shut off a couple more lights and we'll see if we can see any movement. No, I'm not sure if this one's actually viable. It's only been a couple days though, so I'm going to leave it in there for now. Let's see if we can see anything in my green egg. Oh yeah. It's actually a lot darker. I'm not sure if they're even developing. I'm going to have to wait a couple more days. So this one looks red. It might be developing. I'll show you better candling here in a week or so. Okay, so just a quick recap. Use fresh eggs. Don't use dirty eggs. Don't wash your eggs. The bloom protects your egg. Let it do its job. Nature's been doing it for millions of years. Leave it alone. Don't shake your eggs. For storage, store your eggs tip down at around 11 to 20 degrees Celsius. That's 55 to 65 degrees Fahrenheit, I believe. And in storage, also be sure that you're turning your eggs at least 3 times a day. Incubator, clean it. Let it run for at least 6 hours so that you know that it's working and holding temperature. The temperature you're going to want is 37.7 to 38.2 is a little high, but the eggs will be going in for 21 days. You're going to want your humidity to be around 50 to 60%. Place the eggs in your incubator, tip down or on their side. Turn your eggs manually, if you don't have an egg turner, 3 to 5 times a day. Mark them with an X on one side and an O on the other so that you know If you've turned them, it just makes things a little bit easier. Don't keep opening your incubator. You'll kill your eggs. You can candle your eggs around 7 to 11 days just to see if they're still viable and if they're actually developing. Mark your calendar 22 days from the time you put your eggs in. Lock your eggs down on day 18 or at the end of day 18, and don't touch them again until day 22. During lockdown, increase your humidity to around 65% if you can. Your chicks can stay in the incubator for up to 24 hours. Don't worry about opening your incubator and destroying your other chicks that are trying to hatch. So just let them open up and get fluffy. If you have to get them out of there, make sure you have a hot spray bottle that you can rehumidify your incubator with as you're pulling your chicks out. And then move them to your brooder. I'll have a video on that. And just make sure that you drop some crumble, some chick starter around them, so that sparks their instinct to start pecking and eating. And dip their beak in some water once you put them in the brooder so that they know where to drink from, or else you'll just have a bunch of chicks dying because they aren't getting any liquids. So we'll come back for day 21, give or take a day, when we have chicks, and I will see you then. So it's hatch day. I got the brooder set up with the feeder, the waterer, and the heat light. So you got to be careful that you're at the right distance with your heat lamp, or else you'll burn stuff down. So be careful. Let's take the incubator down and set it on the ground. So when you're taking your chicks out of the incubator, you're going to want to make sure you have a spray bottle of hot water. This is as hot as it comes out of the tap. And I filled it up and emptied it 3 times so that even the plastic took the temperature. It's hot plastic now, right? So fill it with hot water out of the tap and then lift your lid. Oh my. We've got 2, 4, 6, 8 out of 12 so far. So you take them, you lift them, and you come over here and you dip their beak in the water so that they know where to drink from. Take, dip, they're gonna drink. He didn't get very much. There you go. Dip, 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 have a drink, dip. Really quickly pull these eggshells out, and looks like we have a couple more that are gonna be hatching. So one, that one doesn't look like it's coming out. That one's hatched. This one's not peeped. So we have 1.
Oh, I can see that one.
2. We have 2 here that have pipped. So we take and spray inside the incubator with hot water, hot mist. Plug it back in so it gets back up to temperature. And we'll wait for those remaining 2 chicks to hatch. So that's hatch day. So again, this is them once they fluff up a bit. And food and water. And like I said, you gotta dip their face or their beak in the water so that they know where to drink from. And sprinkle some food in front of them so that they know instinctually how to eat. And grab the last 2. We're gonna unplug it so it doesn't beep. Open it up. Oh wow, they must have just hatched. Grab them, dip their beak, grab them, dip their beak. Take a look at the other 2 eggs, see if they've pipped. Doesn't look like it, but we're gonna leave them in here just in case. This one doesn't look like it's pipped either. No, okay, well, leave that there. Take out these old shells, spray them down again, put the lid back on, Oops. That. Plug it in. Open up the vent. Spray a little more in there. And then we'll put this back where it was. Just like that. You can stay there. And move the new chicks right on over here. They're still wet, so they're gonna take a second to dry off. But once they dry off, they'll be nice and fluffy, just like those guys. Looks like we have another one here that's might be a Rhode Island Red, and we got one black Australorp or Americana. That looks like Rhode Island Red. I'm not sure what those two are yet, but we'll see. Drop a little bit of food. So yeah, there it is. That's hatch day. So anyways guys, that's how I incubate and hatch my chicken eggs. If you liked this video or learned anything, please feel free to subscribe and leave a like. If I missed anything, feel free to put it down in the comments and I'll be sure to go over that. And as always, God bless and stay safe out there. This is why I always leave my eggs in for an extra day. Cheep, cheep, cheep. 11 out of 12. That's not bad at all.